Hello, this is National Chess Master Rats at chess.com to continue my video series on the correspondence team match played between my video lessons group and the team CARPE DIEM. This was played on board 20. Our man is Sschmieta versus MrKozlik, and we have rating advantage low 2000s versus high 1900s. Anyway, this game could have gone either way. It could have been a win for either side or a draw for either side with correct play. We'll talk about it in a little bit. It's common in a Queen's Gambit accepted for black to play b5 and then fianchetto his own bishop, and white does something similar. But black should be also striving for c5, and then white usually takes. You get a very symmetrical pawn structure. And some of these things start happening, but I believe that black misplays this opening, and white missed his chance to get a great advantage. C4 is just wrong, simply because you're now going into the type of position where black is trying to hold on, takes on c4, then tries to hold on to the pawn, and white gets too much play. The simple thing is black is behind in development, and white's got ways to break open those black pawns. With correct play, white should be able to exchange his two queenside pawns for all three of these, and then be left a pawn up on the rest of the board, and eventually a pass d pawn will be made, and if you trade down to a minor piece ending, you're going to win with white. And that's what happens. b3 comes, and there's no rush to take it. But black playing to hold on to that pawn on b3 now. And this is just flat out wrong. Where's black's development? He's still two moves from castling. And here's black's strategy: hold on to that pawn at all costs. But white's getting mobilized here, and white misses kind of a problematic move here. The move is b6. See, the point is that white can't take this pawn. I'm sorry, black can't take. I always mix black and white up. Black can't take this pawn because now this pawn falls to a pin, and now this, see, you can't take because the queen's no longer guarding the rook, and black will lose this pawn on a4. And now the position I talked about earlier, where white gets rid of his two queenside pawns for the three of blacks, is realized. So after b6. Let's see, let's go forward. After b6 here, white's going to probably win this with correct play. But he doesn't play b6. He plays bishop b2. And he still didn't have to lose this game, as we will see. And finally, at move 18, black gets castled. But here comes the counterplay on those queenside pawns, and they're going to fall. And but black finds a way to keep one on the board. And there it is. And I'm really liking white a bit here, but that b2 pawn is a pest, and it could have cost white the game, but black's going to misplay his hand, coming right up. Now here he's trying to win this pawn and keep this one on the board with a likely draw. But white makes a mistake here, and black counters with a mistake. Winning now is rook c8, and white doesn't have a defense. Where are you going to put the queen? If you put the queen on a2, let's see. The simplest win is rook check, and game over, right? There's no place to put the king. You have to take, and you get back rank mated. So that means the queen has to, let's back this up. The queen has to cover the c1 square. But here, black just brings his rook into c2 with impunity. And now the threat is simply put the queen on the c file and play rook c1, and pitting the queen. White can't get out of this. If you try to get the king out, it's still coming. Let's put the queen here. And there it is. And if queen d3, rook takes, queen takes, queen c1. See, the c1 square owns. Yeah, white can get cute and try set up a back rank mate, but black can defend that with h6. Game over. So black missed a chance to win the game. But it's going to take a white blunder for black to actually. Now it's going to take a white blunder for black to actually win this, and that's what happens. So after rook b1, white took on b5, and now if black loses the pawn on b2, it's probably a draw, but white gets to have all the fun. So white sets out to win that pawn, and black sets out to create counterplay on the king side. Maybe white should have smelled a rat and maybe shoved up pawn up to h3, although I think black can get some pawns off the. If h3, I think even if black loses that pawn, if he gets enough of these pawns off, he'll hold a draw. But again, white's having the fun here because white's going to win that pawn. And here we'll see the black plan. And now white decides, I better run over here and save my pawns. And now he gets the pawn back, but we have equal pawns. And again, they could probably agree to a draw here. I don't know if anyone ever did. But white is going to make a serious blunder here. And here comes the blunder. What he needs to play is rook check. And after the king comes up, this should be a draw with correct play. Okay? Now, the white pawn just got weaker, but it still should be a draw with correct play. Instead, white doesn't give the check. And, whoops, he doesn't play the check. He plays his king here. And unfortunately, now he has to go into a lost king and pawn ending. Maybe he missed the value of this check because the king can't take the rook. Let's see, did he have anything else he could have tried? I mean, I'm trying to figure out what did he have in mind here? Did he think that, but doesn't that just transpose? I think it just transposes. If you're thinking that black will go this way, maybe he's figuring he'll check or something and try to hold on this, because clearly taking the rook is going to go into the same position. See, when you take it, it just transposes. And now black is a pawn ahead and has a winning king and pawn ending, and there's nothing white can do about it. And white actually resigned in this position without playing any further. It is quite hopeless. What are you going to do? King up, king up. You're going to try to get rid of some pawns? Let's see. I think I'm pretty sure it's winning for black. Maybe you should have played a few moves. This could get interesting here. Let's see. Pawn takes. King takes. Now the threat is to come over here and draw. E3, king back. This should be a draw. Maybe resign in a drawing game. Well, let's take a look at it. Let's see. This is where white resigned with king f7. So let's play king f4. Now king f6. Now what's wrong with e4? Oh, I know what's wrong with it. Black just sits. Or does he? Let's see. No, black's fine here. See, if pawn takes, black's king will stop this pawn and eventually win it. Okay. So if you try this move, you're weakening d5, and something similar happens. The moment you try to sack, there's another pass pawn on the board. No, but black could have tried, or white could have tried one more move, I think, but he chose not to. So respect for him for realizing he was lost and resigning. Not a perfect game. With correct play, white could have won. With fair play, based on the errors, it would have been a draw. Both sides didn't play perfectly, but white made the last mistake, and that meant that black won the game. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back with another video soon. Take care.